Okay, so I just finished talking about the Neato. Now I'm going to move on to the Roomba. The Roomba is pretty much the iconic robotic vacuum cleaner out there. They were pretty much the first. I believe they really were the first, but there's a lot of competition out there and less expensive competition. So with this Roomba, again, it is not a scheduling model, but I got it for $125 brand new at Walmart. Screw the scheduling. I don't need it. My Neato is a scheduling machine, so that's fine with me. But the one thing that I will say about the Roomba is I have actually kind of grown to like the randomized cleaning that it does compared to the Neato. The reason why is, just like any other robotic vacuum, it will miss some things even if it's run it over. I've noticed that the Neato misses a lot less because its suction and cleaning performance is a little bit better. So it has more power to it, but it's also a larger and a heavier machine. The Roomba, it will maybe go over the same spot 15 times. Going, back and forth, making crosses and X's and all over your carpet. You'll see the patterns if you have a deep pile carpet. And I've noticed that it does its best on medium-ish pile because it's not too low to the point that the suction is almost not-existent because there's no seal to the carpet, but too thick of pile doesn't let enough airflow come through, so it just kind of tends to run stuff over and then puts it back down on the floor. So the Roomba, just like the Neato, it has a shock absorber. It's multi-directional, so it doesn't have to hit things head on. It can hit it from the side, and it will tell the Roomba that something's there. The Neato is the same way. You have this rubber bumper here, or it's not rubber actually. You have this bumper. It's multi-directional. No matter what way it touches or hits, it knows that there's a obstruction there. The Roomba uses a lot of sensors up here in the front portion of the vacuum, and I believe this is the homing sensor and maybe the wall sensor, so it knows to stay out of things. And the rest of it is, or all your other sensors are right here. Now on the bottom of the Roomba, you have your cliff detectors up here, here, and here. You have this easy access to be able to clean the inside of your brushes. You just press these two yellow buttons here. This comes up. I believe there is a way to remove this. I know your brushes are very easy to remove, and they're pretty nice high quality. These plastic blades in here are to keep the hair the best that it can, especially the long hair, from wrapping deep down inside the brush. Plus it adds a little bit more structure to it, because if you look in there, it just uses almost like a braided metal rod that the bristles stay on with. And there are cleaning tools to be able to clean this out. The brush is very soft, but they're kind of piney or like spiny bristles, which this is going to help out with at least getting deeper into the carpet. Kind of like what do you want to call it? Porcupine quills. They look very bendy, but honestly, if you were to touch them head on or straight on, they're going to stay pretty stiff and just stab. So it does brush into the carpet pretty nicely. You also have a rubber brush here, which works very similar to the way that the Neato's brush works. You can see there is some dirt in here. I must have run something over that was a little wet. And right here, I'm gonna take some of this hair off. So this is kind of the regular maintenance that you should be expecting with a robotic machine. If you've had bad luck with them in the past, it's probably because hair tends to wrap around these pieces. The suction on these machines are nowhere near that of a more powerful machine like a full-size upright is going to be able to provide. My goodness, this is crazy. But I'm not really surprised because my Neato gets this too. every robotic machine, you should expect nothing less than what I'm showing you right here. It doesn't matter if it's a Samsung, it doesn't matter if it is a Neato or a Bob Sweep or a Roomba, as you can see. The Neato got cleaned out today, but I'm just shocked at how much hair this has run over, and it's only been used twice. So I'm going to leave the brushes out for now, because I'm going to have to clean those when I'm not being, like, all over the place. There are these metal pieces here, these metal guards. Multiple reasons why these are here. Very similar to your upright machine at home, whether it's metal or plastic. It keeps a lot of things from coming up. It also will help to keep your carpet to the floor. Now, with your Roomba, you don't really have to worry about the carpet coming up, you know, because it's not that powerful. But it keeps the corners of the carpet, when it's running it over, from getting stuck up in here. Or running that over and like chewing it up and dragging it along, and it's going to help to keep it from getting stuck. It also keeps wires and cables and things from entering in here too, damaging the robot, damaging the cord, catching things on fire, you know, causing sparks, splinters, rips, tears in cords. But it also helps to protect whatever it's plugged into. So if you don't want something ripped down, or like your cell phone, and then that to get on the floor, it helps to prevent a lot of different things. Also, this is spring-loaded, so of course with it being on its back or upside down, it's going to be dropped down. But if you flip it over, this is an automatic height adjustment in a way, because it kind of just floats with the carpet. On the back of the Roomba is the dirt container, right here. So this is the AeroVac technology. There's a little tab over here. You just pull it up, it opens the door, and you can see it's a pretty decent sized container. The filter kind of touches the bottom of the container though, so the dirt will tend to get stuck on the filter. Now the Neato's no exception. That's a pleated filter, so this one's actually pretty easy to clean. Both of the machines, the Neato and this, you can get generic parts to replace it. It's very easy to clean the filter. I always pull this out every time I empty it. Same with my Neato. The Neato, actually, in order to empty it, you have to take the filter out. This you do not. So if you don't want to clean the filter all the time, you don't have to. This is a little hard to do one-handed, but I will conquer eventually. You might have to flip it this way, and there we go. So I loosen that side. It's actually not that hard. It's just me. So you have like a foam seal around this. So I would imagine some dirt actually is able to leak through here. So the efficiency may not be all that great. But again, I mean, these are not HEPA machines. So, and the one spoiler that I want to tell people about their Roomba, and any of the 600 series Roombas, I don't know about the 7, the 8, and the 900, but I would imagine they're not far off. Your suction motor is right here. That little fan right there spins. And I'll show you. Those blades, that is where your suction comes from. I guess you can't see it through there very well. That is where it comes from. This little tiny fan is what cleans your floors right behind the filter. I mean, it's a good spot that it's right behind the filter, right there in the bin, but compared to the Neato, this thing creates pretty much no power. These metal contacts right here, that's where your electricity flows through. That's how it gets the power from the Roomba, the main portion and the battery. So the whole power, the part that cleans your floor, is inside your dust cup. That's why these are so expensive. It's not just a plastic container. This is where your suction is. And the exhaust air is blown right out the back. Okay? So this whole piece right here, all except for the brushes, this just moves the vacuum cleaner around the place. Okay? The cleaning power, again, despite the brush rolls, is all inside here, okay? This is just all the technology of the Roomba. Now see how far things have come. They actually have a motor inside this. You can see that big inlet is where all the suction comes through, and the suction is pulled through there. So you have brush roll, suction inlet, dirt container, and filter. And the motor, there's no fan right here, okay? It's just an inlet. Everything's nested inside the enclosed portion of the vacuum. Whereas right here, I mean, this fan is the size of a quarter. No lie. So that is what cleans your floors. And in turn, though, the Neato is louder than the Roomba. Even though I've heard people complain about the Roombas being noisy, I honestly think it's pretty quiet. And there's your metal contacts. That's where the power also comes from. And that tells you your model number right there. So you have a 360 spinner wheel up here on the front, and those are the metal contacts that these touch with your homing base. That's how you charge your Roomba. The spinner brush, I would say, collects a lot less hair than the Neato does, but the Neato is magnetic and it's easy to replace. This you actually have to use a screwdriver. So very similar wheels on this, but I would say the Roomba cleans faster. It's a faster machine. It moves a lot quicker. It maneuvers very nicely. The Neato is pretty slow. It's going to have a bigger battery than the Roomba does because it powers a lot more. It's a bigger machine. It's heavier. It runs a lot more electronics inside of it, and it uses lasers. It has a lot of technology in it as well, and both of these machines have technology that the other doesn't. But I would say that the Roomba is going to clean your house in a lot less time, but there may be some spots that it misses, and there may be some spots that it gets the next time and it misses what it cleaned the last time this time. So there's some upsides and downsides, which is why I own them both now. And I didn't realize it until I owned a Roomba. The nice part about the Roomba is, though, it's very strange to explain, but it's more graceful moving around than the cheap knockoff robot machines out there. So I can attest to that. I owned them. I've seen them. They just don't maneuver as well, and it's a lot of people's cheaper alternative. If you look closely and you find, I mean, this is cheaper than most. $125 that I paid for this brand new at a well-known department store. Those are the type of buys that you need to look for. I got this thing inexpensively, and I am pretty happy with it. I actually run them both at the same time. The Roomba, like I said, it's much quieter. It maneuvers around things. It has never, since I've owned it, it has never gotten stuck on anything. It has snagged a cord here and there, but it keeps vacuuming. It will eventually spit it back out, but the Neato, it'll just shut everything down, and it takes a second to start back up because it needs to know where it's at. But again, I mean, I recommend both of these machines. But if you only want to buy one, it depends on the house that you have. If you have wall-to-wall carpet, and I would recommend the Neato because it's going to deep clean better. It's going to perform a lot better. It's a little bit easier to maintain, and the hair doesn't get wrapped around it as easily as the Roomba does because it uses rubber blades. It also picks up a lot more fine dust, and it holds more dirt. I have to empty this maybe every 3 uses. This has to be emptied every use. It also has a real vacuum motor, not just a little fan inside the dirt cup. But I like the Roomba because it will go over things multiple times because it doesn't have the laser mapping. It's all randomized. So that's a really cool feature too, and it doesn't get stuck on things as much. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer them. If you have a question that I didn't address, please let me know because I can answer it through the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope that you guys continue to watch. Please like, comment, and subscribe.